dipped right below that line, tested that 743 level again. 743 is last week's high, and we're right back inside range once more. So pretty much trading sideways. That's what we come to expect during this hour. It could all change in the
Mm-hmm.
next 45 minutes or so. But for now, just doing the drift.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nailed that question. We got a whole new we got a fresh form for the new year, guys. Big shout out to Red One Z for having the very first comment slash question in the new lunchbox trading document. And it just
Yeah,
says
this is
thank you,
fun
Topstep.
too. This is fun. I like having you on here and having somebody else to talk to and maybe look to take trades. And I like this new format. So this is it's fun. I think we should expand it.
Yeah, for sure. 1245. We're at the bottom end of this range again. Hogue, is this trade looking cheap enough for you yet?
Mm, I'm really looking for some sort of reversal pattern here that I have not seen yet. Looking at the
Okay.
Nasdaq, I'd be looking for some sort of 3 bar reversal or a hint of one. I still think we're going to go down and test
Ooh,
that IB low. There it is.
there it is.
Here we're checking down to the IB low. There it
What a
is.
move. There
Just
we
took it
go.
out. All right, now if we see some sort of failure or rejection below that IB low, because we've traded above the IB high, the market is likely to kind of return rotational. So now I'm monitoring for some sort of failed downside auction here or an auction fade down here, some sort of reversal pattern against this low. Then I think we start looking for the long. We may be late to the party if that's the case because we really just ran a whole bunch of stops below that IB low, a little liquidity grab down there, and that may have just put in the low. We'll see. Still watching for some sort of reversal pattern.
Very good. Man, what a move that just was. We had a whole bunch of liquidity there. All right,
Yeah,
let's grab another question while we got a few minutes left.
all the
Doug K
stops were
says
down there, my friend.
they hit them all too. Yeah.
Yep.
Doug C says I'm close to taking my first payout. I see where I could take payments to single member. That's about payout. You're gonna have to contact support on that payout question.
Hmm.
The problem with doing this live is we don't get to vet the questions before we.
And
Yep.
we're not tax people,
Yep.
so I would definitely contact a tax professional about that question.
Absolutely. We are not here to manage your finances. All right, next question
Mhm.
from TO. I mentioned that join bid, join ask button. What does the join ask and join bid buttons do in the TopStep X platform? Well, instead of going straight to the market where you're getting the best available fill, whatever last price was traded on the bidder offer, that is where your bidder offer will be placed. So it's not technically a market order. Let's say it's 5 bid at 6, and you place a join bid order, you're going to be on the 5 bid waiting to get filled instead of going to the
Right.
market and paying up 6 or higher. Is there another way, any other way you can think of to explain that? Does that sound pretty simple enough?
No, I think it's perfect. I mean, I heard you saying earlier you like the join bid, join ask in the Nasdaq, and I do too because the Nasdaq is so volatile. If you can
Mm-hmm.
save that tick, why not save the tick? So the join bid, you're going to be on the bid. You're not going to lift the offer.
Yep.
Join ask, it's going to place your order on the offer, not just hit the bid. Um,
I mean,
I hate to
honestly,
pull button.
your probabilities of getting filled hitting the join bid, join ask button are very, very high in the NASDAQ. Hitting the
Hmm.
market button, your chances of being a victim of slippage are also very, very high. So
Hmm.
take it with a grain of salt. Personally, I don't like giving free money to the market, uh, especially in the Nasdaq where that slippage can absolutely kill you
Yes.
if you're
And you
trading
can
up.
also get left behind too. I mean, you join the bid and the
Hmm.
market takes off. your bid's just going to sit there and wait for it to come back to that level. So there's good and bad with everything.
Yeah. No FOMO though. Move on to the next trade.
Mm, no FOMO.
And never chase. Never chase it. All right. Checking back in on the markets. We're still trading lower in the Nasdaq here. We're back below
Yeah, we're giving up that IB low. Not looking for the long yet here.
IB low in the Nasdaq is 21,723 half. We are just below it right now. Dipping our toe in the water, as they say.
Hmm. Let's see where we close that next 30-minute bar. We close the next 30-minute bar above that level. Then I like the long. But then we'll be out
Where do
of
you have
time, JD.
where do you have our downside gap fill in the Nasdaq at, Hogue?
Downside gap fill. Which gap?
Overnight gap.
Oh, the session gap?
Yeah,
Friday's high was 21,559 quarter.
559. Okay, I got that.
So yeah, that would be a nice move, wouldn't it?
That would be an impressive
Let's see if we
move.
can accept below this IB low first. Again,
Doesn't seem to want to
probability
pop.
states once we've traded outside the initial balance on both sides, probability states that the market's just going to become rotational and range bound inside of that. So that's what we're waiting to see is where we're going to close this next 30-minute bar. If it's inside the initial balance, probability is going to be we're just going to go into a range bound day the rest of the day. But if we open
Mm-hmm.
below it, that's going to leave single TPOs. That could certainly change things. We've got weekly kickoff high that we broke out in the overnight session down at 21,650. You can see once we went above it, we checked down to it a couple of times before the open, found that found buyers down there. So if we do get that opportunity, that could be another opportunity for another long if we get that big move to the downside. What do you suppose the probability of closing the session gap all the way down to that 21,559 quarter is today, JD? Relatively slim?
I mean, the way it's moving right now, I'd like to see it done in the next hour. But yeah, I would say it's relatively slim that we make a 300-point move or 250
Yeah, I
point
think
move.
somebody was saying in the chat earlier when a session gap isn't closed in the first hour of the trade, it's almost 80% that it will not get filled during that session.
I believe it. Yeah, that sounds like an edge full stat. I could pull that up.
Right. Yep.
I'll have that for the next segment. Seen a little bit of strength coming in. Minor buying right back up to last week's. What is that? Last week's high at 743 in the NQ. Trading just below that right now.
Hmm.
But it's getting whippy.
Let's see where this closes this 30-minute bar. If it closes above IB low, more probability of rotational trade. If it opens below it, could be sellers coming in from that point forward. We did leave the opening ranges at the dead
Mm-hmm.
low this morning, JD. And
Yep.
that's usually buyer control. I'm surprised to see us back here, but if the buyers remain in control, this could be a nice opportunity for a long. Lots of opportunities for longs at lower levels as well, with the lack of the gap close, the weekly kickoff high, the naked point of control that hasn't been tested. That naked point of control down there is 21,641.
641. Just below weekly kickoff
Yes.
high. I'm going to
Yeah, and
mark that
that's
down.
really where the overnight support came in, was right against that naked point of control. This low right here, 642, this low right here, 641.75. Nice little double bottom there against a naked point of control. Still hasn't been tested in the overnight session. We're already seeing a little bit of rejection below the IB low. So again, if we open the next 30-minute bar above that IB low, then I like the longs against the current session low. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm. Makes good sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Hogue. We got about Less than 5 minutes left. Oh, you just
Time
mentioned naked
flies
point
when
of
we're having
control.
fun.
Right. Question for Martins. You just mentioned naked point of control. Can you explain what the naked point of control concept in TPO charts is? Thank you. What is a naked point of control, Hogue?
Okay. So in volume profile or market profile, the point of control is probably the most popular price of the session. In volume profile, it is the single price that has the highest volume. In TPO profile, it is the widest line of TPOs closest to the center of the range. It's the price that's most visited over time in TPO. It is a comfort level. A lot of trading has gone on there in the past. People remember that, and those naked points of control become weaknesses in structure or visual targets for price to revisit because again they were comfortable levels. I don't like trading point of control. Point of control is a very popular place for two-sided trade to occur. I don't want to trade where two-sided trade is occurring. I want to trade where the auction is dying in one direction or another and then take the opposite move, or get into an auction that is very strong in one direction. So the points of control, I call them, they're basically just little comfort levels. They're areas where a lot of trade has occurred, and when you extend them beyond the current session, quite often they become visual targets. Markets are extremely visual. Price remembers levels, so we tend to go hunting naked points of control. If you were to reverse engineer a lot of the weekly kickoff levels, a lot of the kickoff levels are largely based off of previous non-rechecked or naked points of control. Very often, if there's a reason around a naked point of control, that's where it's going to go. But again, those weekly kickoff levels, there's a lot of calculation and a lot of thought that goes into those. And if they end up near a naked point of control, that's where that's going to go, is pretty close to that naked point of control. We can see, this week's weekly kickoff high actually ended up very close to a naked point of control from last week, which was 21,641. 21,650 is where the weekly kickoff came in with other calculations, but it was very close to that naked point of control. And we still haven't rechecked that naked point of control in regular trading hours. Only in extended trading hours have we revisited it, and it became supportive. So there was that naked point of control, that comfort level, and then the weekly kickoff high that when we broke above it, when we came back to it, became support again, and then we of course left the opening range at the low of the session. We continued to try and push higher. We're using new market generated information. Now we looked above the IB high, we couldn't continue. We've rotated below the IB low now. Does it look like we're going to go back and retest that naked point of control in regular trading hours? It all depends on where we open this next 30-minute bar, whether it's inside the initial balance or below the initial balance low, to where I would look for an opportunity for a trade in and around this. And it's looking very much like we're going to just open this next 30-minute bar right on that IB low, which just further complicates things. But points of control are comfort levels. There are areas that were very popular, levels that were very popular in past trading. And when you remember those levels, the market remembers those levels, and markets are very visual. The market will go seek those comfort levels upon returning into those areas, if you will. I hope that helps.
Very good, Hogue. Yep, that was a great explanation. Thank you. I hope everybody in the chat
Mhm.
was listening to that also. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for Lunchbox Trading today. We did not get a trade again, but we did spend quite a bit of time looking for one. And thanks for your
Yeah.
questions. We appreciate it. Hogue, always a pleasure,
We
my
could have
friend.
taken a trade and we'd be right where we got in right now, probably.
Yep, that's the way she's moving right now.
Yep.
All right, folks, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back with Power Players. We've got Caesar, live funded trader Caesar, making his debut on Top Step TV. He's been with Top Step for a couple months now. He's making some moves too. So we're going to talk to him about his strategy, what he's looking at in the markets, how he found Top Step, and maybe we'll take some trades too. So stick around. We'll be right back with Power Players. This is Top Step TV. Let's go.